Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today from the Thaiger this Thursday, June 27th. Now, we're going to start with our first story today, which is a bit of a shocker. Now, a Thai TikTok star has been accused of coercing women into illegal abortions. So, this Thai TikTok star, known as Dong, is accused of coercing women into unprotected sex, illegal abortions, and then refusing responsibility. An 18-year-old victim, known as A, disclosed her ordeal, revealing Dong's pattern of pressuring women into abortions, some resulting in suicide. Dong's mother blamed the victims. A, after becoming pregnant, was coerced by Dong into an illegal abortion, experiencing severe pain and complications. Dong abandoned A and continued his abusive behavior with other women. Multiple victims shared similar experiences, leading A to expose Dong and report him for statutory rape. Dong's mother retaliated by accusing A of defamation. Pretty gross. You know, these are all allegations right now, but this is pretty disgusting behavior, particularly because abortion is not legal in Thailand. So whatever abortions were pursued were back alley, dangerous operations here. And and then eschewing his responsibility to then continue to put other women into that situation, causing them to lead to self-harm and of course the loss of the child's life as well. So my God, the police need to investigate this, get to the bottom of it. They're insane allegations. If they are not true, of course that would qualify for defamation. However, I don't think that these things, women are typically in these sexual assault situations led to silence and convinced of becoming silent and not going public with these things. It takes a lot of bravery for a woman who's been through that harrowing experience to come forth and go public. But absolutely brave if this is true, because apparently the madman was still at it and still doing these terrible things to women. So yeah, it's so strange. Influencers, right? People with a bit of power on their side can be very convincing and manipulative, particularly with young women like A was. So, nasty stuff. Hopefully the police can get to the bottom of that and the madness can be stopped. All right, on to the next story. Now, Big Joke is a big name here in the Thai police scene. However, looks like he's getting the boot. So the police commission has unanimously voted to dismiss Deputy Police General Surachat Big Joke Hakpan following Acting National Police Chief Kitrat Panpet's removal order. This decision came after a 2-hour discussion prompted by the Council of State questioning the legitimacy of Surachat's dismissal. Surachat, accused of money laundering linked to the BNK master online gambling network, appealed to the National Police Chief Tursak to overturn the April 18th dismissal order. Surachat plans to fight for reinstatement and has threatened legal actions against key figures if not reinstated. The decision will likely lead to further developments in the police department. It does seem like they are cleaning up shop. Big Joke is not the first name who's been brought up for removal, and this commission voted unanimously, I believe it was 12-0, for his removal. So now Big Joke is looking to appeal and also countersue for defamation against the council for, ruining his good name. This needs to play out in the courts, right? So right now, this is something that's being decided internally by the Royal Thai Police. However, these court cases need to play out to figure out exactly what went on. He stands accused of money laundering and connection to gambling websites, which are not legal here in Thailand. So we'll have to see what evidence is produced. Now, Big Joke is full-throatedly defending himself and putting those countersuits out there. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and let this play out in the courts. And we'll see if Big Joke remains in big trouble. All right, moving on. Now, next one. Got a weird one coming up for you. Now, some teens have surrendered after a brutal attack on a bomb-throwing 15-year-old. Literal bombs. Now, a group of teenagers involved in a brutal attack on this bomb-throwing 15-year-old surrendered to police in Boyai, Nakhon Ratchasima. The incident left the victim with severe head and wrist injuries. A 16-year-old boy, the son of a local assistant village leader, and his family turned themselves in after police pressure. The conflict reportedly began when the victim threw a homemade bomb at the group, which failed to detonate, leading to the attack. The incident has raised concerns about youth violence and the role of social media in escalating conflicts. The victim faces a long recovery, highlighting the need for measures to prevent such violence. I mean, I don't know if, okay, if I'm in a group of kids, but this is teen-on-teen violence, right? Boys being boys. However, one of these boys lobbed a bomb, right, at this group of teenagers. It didn't go off. You got to expect some sort of retaliation, right? Like, if you're, like, standing around, like, what the So this was an escalation of some online bullying or something like that. Kids can be brutal, that's for sure. But you can also kind of understand, hey, if you threw a bomb at me, I'm going to whoop that butt. So, I don't know. I'm glad the police are involved to settle this situation. The kid's okay. Like, he does have a long recovery. He got the crap beat out of him. But, you can't be throwing bombs at people either. Jesus Christ. So, anyways, the situation has settled down. The other teens have turned themselves in. We'll see what kind of punishment gets meted out. I'd be curious to see how this all started, which is still a bit unclear. How it came from online bullying and how that escalated to, a homemade bomb being made. And also not okay. Two wrongs do not make a right. Anyways, we'll see if we have some updates on that story later. It seems like the dust is settled, though. Some wrists will be slapped. I'm not sure how serious the punishments will be, but don't be throwing bombs at me, because then me and my boys will, I'm not sure. I'm not one for getting into fights, but that merits some kind of retaliation, I would imagine. Sheesh. All right, now our next story is a bit of a weird one because there was some news to me in this because it has to do with cockfighting here in the land of smiles. Now, a stray dog has killed 70 fighting cocks at a Thai farm. Now, in this devastating incident, which occurred at a cockfighting farm in Pakchong, Nakhon Ratchasima, where stray dogs killed 70 fighting cocks, resulting in a 60,000 baht loss. The farm owner, Nontawat, discovered the attack early yesterday morning. The 3 stray dogs had been abandoned by their previous owner, who moved away. Now, Nontawat urged the former owner to take responsibility. To mitigate the losses, he plans to distribute the surviving chickens to villagers for family meals. This incident highlights the serious consequence of pet abandonment impacting both community members and the animals. And of course, it was news to me that cockfighting is apparently legal in Thailand. I've been to a cockfight before. I'm a little ashamed to say, in the Philippines when I was younger, and to me it was just an adventurous cultural experience. After I went there, I was pretty sickened by the whole ordeal. A little sad for me to find out that cultural practice is still alive and well here in Thailand. It is something that is very much not legal where I come from, and very, very much looked at with skeptical, ethical lenses. Now, of course, you can argue there's tradition. It is a traditional sport. All sorts of horrendous things have been traditional as well, though. If you go back far enough, you can find all sorts of horrendous practices. That's something that I'd like to see changed here in the land of smiles. I wasn't even aware that it happened. Of course, it is typically, you're not seeing that in tourist areas, really. This is something that is enjoyed by rural, local residents of the kingdom. But at the same time, it also highlights the problem of soy dogs and pet abandonment that happens all the time here, too. So, some lessons to be learned. Hey, maybe stop the cockfighting. Also, hey, spay and neuter your pets, people. Don't leave them abandoned to run wild and cause a bunch of damage to property, which this was property damage at the end of the day. And, not okay. Kind of a weird, gross story to me. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, people. All right, let me see. Kazna says, vicious brutes, some of those soy dogs. Yeah, agreed. Especially, when they get lost onto the farms, and one of their natural instincts is to, squeaky toys, small animals, squeaky, squeaky. That's gonna lead to some issues. All right, on to our next story. Which is bringing us into a little bit of the political realm here in Thailand. An arrest warrant has been issued for political activist Parit Chiwarak. The criminal court has issued an arrest warrant for political activist Parit Chiwarak, also known as his online moniker Penguin, after he failed to appear for a ruling in a lèse-majesté case. Parit, facing around 24 charges under Section 112 of the Criminal Code, is currently out on bail. Now, the charges stem from a Facebook post in July 2021 deemed threatening to the monarchy. He also faces charges under the Computer Crime Act. The court rescheduled his ruling to July 31st, and this case is part of a broader crackdown on political dissent in Thailand, with numerous individuals facing similar charges since the Free Youth protests began in 2020. Section 112 rears its ugly head again. Now, of course, this is still the law of the land in Thailand. Defamation against the monarchy is punishable with prison time. So it's one of those things where you see political activists making a stand for what they believe in, but then also facing the punishment of making that stance. Similar case we talked about yesterday, Julian Assange finally achieving freedom after several years in prison for doing what he believed was the correct thing to do. So, I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys. Obviously, you have to respect the laws in the country that you are living in, but it takes protest in order to be able to make changes that you wish to see in the policy. I'm going to leave my hands off of it as a foreigner, a guest here in Thailand. I don't want to be too opinionated. However, I would like to know what you guys think in the comments. So please let me know. All right. Now, we're going to go on to our last Thailand story for the day. Now, illegal Bitcoin mining operation has been raided for using state electricity. So Police and Provincial Electricity Authority, or the PEA, officials have raided an illegal Bitcoin mining operation in Ratchaburi using state electricity and causing monthly losses of 10 million baht. The raid, conducted under a search warrant, found over 700 mining rigs, though only 59 were seized as evidence. The operation, run by Miner Union Company, showed irregular electricity usage. The factory, housing numerous mining rigs and converted shipping containers, had tampered electricity meters. Preliminary investigations estimate the seized equipment's value at 5.9 million baht, and the company faces charges for electricity theft and misuse of public resources, with further investigations ongoing. Okay, so this is one of the big deals with cryptocurrency and its mining, is that it consumes tons of electricity. Yet another reason why I'm not that big into the crypto sphere. Of course, we do some advertisements for it here. The applications in the future are a little vague and unknown. But what we do know right now is that it has a huge environmental impact. I think I saw something, it now consumes up to 1 to 2% of the global electricity consumption. I mean, think about that. 700 rigs sucking up 10 million baht worth of free energy from the people in order for this company to make a profit on Bitcoin mining. Not okay. So we'll see what kind of punishments get meted out. These are still kind of new kinds of crimes. So what's on the books might not be relevant or pertain to the crimes that are actually being committed. However, the operation has been stopped. People are getting in trouble, so that is good news. I mean, if you're doing Bitcoin mining, just pay the electricity bill. You don't got to steal the electricity in order to do that. Yeah, shame on you, and kudos for the police getting to the bottom of that story. All right. Hey, 2B in Phoenix. Is that it? Thank you, guys. Please, he has reminded you, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, that'll do it for our... I'll get to your comments at the end, guys. I still got a couple of stories left for you. That'll do it for our news for Thailand. I've got 2 stories for you from around the ASEAN region. Now, our first story is going over to Malaysia. Now, $100 million in assets linked to the 1MDB are to be returned to Malaysia. So the U.S. Justice Department has reached an agreement with fugitive financier Joe Low to return over $100 million of allegedly embezzled money from Malaysia's 1MDB fund. This includes the liquidation of artworks by Andy Warhol and Claude Monet, and a luxury flat in Paris with assets worth $67 million being released to Malaysia. Low, who remains at large, is accused of being at the center of 1MDB scandal, where over $4.5 billion was allegedly stolen. The agreement also involves coordinating with foreign countries to return additional assets held abroad. This will supplement the $1.4 billion already recovered with U.S. assistance. What a jerk! Scum, this guy, stealing over $4.5 billion to illegal financing. It highlights also The art scene, which is just rife with all sorts of illegal criminal activity. I call them, Pokemon trading cards for the ultra wealthy, basically. You saw Andy Warhol's name come up, Claude Monet as well. This is just, whatever you pay for it, there's all sorts of tax loopholes and weird incentives. The stuff crosses borders easily. So easy to hide money because the valuation of art is so subjective. So, nasty stuff. This guy is still on the run somewhere. I mean, with those kinds of assets, you think it'd be easy to, buy a new identity, disappear, something like that. But also, greed is a hell of a motivator. So this guy might still get in trouble. He might slip up. But good to hear that Malaysia is recovering some of those assets and that they're working closely with the United States officials in order to do that. It's seeing that international cooperation to stop these ultra-wealthy criminals is good news. For every, it's like whack-a-mole, right? New crimes pop up all the time. Authorities receive new tools to track them down all the time. The game of cat and mouse continues. Cops and robbers, it was a thing when I was a kid. Seems like it's still one now. Colleen says, yeah, pure greed. Absolutely agreed. Now, our last story will take us over to the Philippines, where you will hear a familiar name. Former Philippine President Duterte plans to run for the Senate. That's right. Former President Rodrigo Duterte plans to run for the Senate in next year's midterm elections, as announced by his daughter, current Vice President, Sara Duterte. Despite declaring his retirement from politics in 2022, Duterte has reconsidered. Shocker. Sara Duterte also revealed that her two brothers plan to run in the elections, and she intends to return to Davao City to run for mayor again. Her brother, Sebastian, aims for the presidency in 2028. The Duterte family has faced political tension with current President Marcos Jr., especially over issues like China's territorial disputes. Sara recently resigned from her post as education secretary and head of an anti-insurgency body, indicating strains in their political alliance. Mojo, you said it right there. The Trump of the Philippines. It's a family affair, right? It's funny because, Duterte has beef a little bit with current President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., but Sara Duterte, his daughter, is the current vice president. So a weird combination of political alliances that happen over in the Philippines. The politics is huge over there. I was there during election season the first time when Duterte got elected, and political signs everywhere, political advertisements everywhere. You got to imagine there's probably a lot of corruption in that system. So Duterte, who had announced his retirement from politics, has unsurprisingly stepped back in to the ring. And not only that, his entire brood of family, his children, are all involved in some way or another, with his son eyeing the presidency in the next election in 2028. So, good luck, Philippines. That guy was a bit of a, in my book, crazy dude. Particularly with his war on drugs and all sorts of extrajudicial killings of drug criminals. So not a lot of due diligence, not a lot of due process for people that were alleged to have been drug dealers. If you are a tourist going to the Philippines, do not do drugs, okay? Like, that is a crazy scene over there, and they are not messing around when it comes to drug enforcement. Very interesting seeing the complete opposite approach. Now, I have heard rumblings, rumors, okay, these are allegations. Philippines is toying with the idea of maybe cannabis legalization, similar to how it's worked out here in Thailand. This is also something that's being rumbled about over in Malaysia. The dominoes are obviously falling around the world, but Southeast Asia does appear to have some incentives as well. Obviously, the climate here, very good for that growing crop, and it would really alleviate the prison systems. I think I did a story about the Philippines a week or so ago about how heavily overcrowded their prison systems are. Legalizing cannabis will do a lot to alleviate those problems. We'll see. Certainly not with Duterte in power, but it does seem like a beneficial policy for the Philippines. All right, cool. Let's. That'll do it. So let me wrap up the show, and then I'll get into the comments with you guys. Now, if that's our news from around the Land of Smiles and the ASEAN region. You can always go to thetiger.com to see more news updates throughout the day. And I do encourage you to join the conversation over at ASEAN Now. Now, we got about 70 people here in the comments right now, but the conversation continues over at ASEAN Now. So I encourage you guys to go register and just start talking smack on the boards. It's a fun way to spend your time and get to know the people around you here in the Land of Smiles and in the ASEAN region. All right, so that'll do it. Now let me get back into the comments, everybody.